Imagine a man who gives everything too quickly. His affection, his time, his validation, all handed over like a kingdom with no walls. At first, the woman smiles, she enjoys the attention, she accepts the comfort, but slowly, almost invisibly, the attraction fades. She stops texting back with the same excitement. She stops asking questions. She stops wondering where he is or what he's doing, because in her mind, there is no mystery, no challenge, no power. Machiavelli warned that when something becomes too accessible, it loses its value. And in the art of desire, power is far more attractive than affection. So today, let us step into the mindset of Machiavelli and uncover the first and most important principle. The man who wants a woman to chase him must first stop chasing her with emotional dependence. A woman does not chase the man who bends for her approval. She chases the man who stands firm within his own strength. She is drawn to the man who seems complete before she arrives, not the one who looks empty until she fills him. Machiavelli teaches that humans admire what appears powerful, stable, and confident. When a man gives off the energy that he is self-governing, emotionally independent, her instinct is ignited. She feels that she has discovered something rare, something not everyone can access, and the more rare something is, the more people desire it. You must understand what truly kills attraction: desperation. Desperation is not always loud. It is not always clingy. Sometimes it shows up in small behaviors: texting too fast, explaining yourself too much, apologizing for things that don't require apologies, asking why she didn't reply, agreeing with everything she says just so you don't lose her. Machiavelli would say these actions give away power, and the moment power is given away, influence dissolves. A man who behaves like this becomes emotionally predictable, and predictability is the death of pursuit. Instead, Machiavelli would advise you to rule yourself before attempting to rule the battlefield of attraction. You must become a man whose life moves with purpose, a man whose presence carries quiet confidence. When a woman feels that you do not need her to feel valuable, she becomes curious. She begins to wonder why you are so comfortable in your own world. She begins to imagine what it would feel like to be part of that world. And curiosity is the first spark of pursuit. A man who wants a woman to chase him must build an inner kingdom, not crumble before her expectations. Emotional independence is the foundation of power. It makes your attention meaningful, not excessive. It makes your presence desired, not assumed. When a woman feels that your life is already full, your goals, your discipline, your passions, she realizes she must work to become a part of it. And the moment she feels she must work for you, even subtly, she begins to chase.
Machiavelli teaches that rulers who appear indifferent to praise are the ones whose approval people seek the most.
The same principle applies to relationships. When you stop trying to impress a woman and instead remain firmly rooted in who you are, she feels something unusual. Most men try to win her. Most men bend, adjust, and sacrifice themselves too early, but you stand steady, showing interest without surrender, affection without attachment. And this balance is precisely what creates desire. Power is attractive because it signals protection, leadership, and direction. But emotional power, your ability to remain composed, calm, and self-reliant, is irresistible. A man who does not collapse under emotional pressure is a man she can trust. A man who can remain steady even when she pulls back is a man she will chase, because she knows that if she does not move toward him, he will not crumble. He will simply continue forward. There is a reason Machiavelli said that a leader must never let others see him lose control, not anger, not fear, not longing. A man who wants a woman to chase him must present himself with this same emotional mastery. This does not mean coldness, it means clarity. It means not giving her the power to determine your mood, your decisions, or your sense of worth. It means being kind, but not needy, interested, but not dependent, present, but not desperate. A woman is naturally drawn to a man who is centered, who has direction, ambition, and a strong identity. When she sees that your happiness does not rely on her attention, she begins to chase your presence. When she senses you are not seeking her validation, she starts seeking yours. When she notices you don't treat her like a prize you're trying to win, she starts treating you like a prize she wants to earn. This is how the dynamic shifts. This is how you turn the tables without manipulation, without playing games, simply by understanding human nature the way Machiavelli understood it. A man who wants a woman to chase him must build his life in such a way that her presence adds to it, not defines it. When she senses that you value yourself more than you value her approval, she begins investing emotionally. She begins feeling something that only powerful men can evoke: admiration. And admiration is the seed of long-term desire. Machiavelli would remind you that power is not loud, it is silent. It is not aggressive, it is controlled. It does not beg, it attracts. The moment you stop trying to win her is the moment she realizes she could lose you. And that realization triggers pursuit. When she senses that you move like a man on his own path, she begins to walk toward you. When she feels that your world is rich, full, and disciplined, she wants to become part of it. When she sees that you give affection from a place of strength, not scarcity, she wants that affection more. Imagine this: a woman's curiosity is the spark that begins every chase. Not beauty, not wealth, not even charm. Curiosity. That subtle tension in her mind that whispers, there is something about him I can't figure out. Machiavelli understood this better than most men ever will. He believed that people are drawn not to what is fully revealed, but to what is partially hidden, what forces them to think, to imagine, to wonder. And the moment a woman begins wondering about you, imagining you, questioning you, the chase begins. Because human nature is built on a simple truth. We desire what feels just out of reach. We pursue what we cannot instantly possess, and nothing fuels that pursuit more than mystery.
Mystery is not silence. It is not being cold or distant.
Mystery is the art of revealing yourself slowly, deliberately, with intention. It is the ability to show enough to spark interest, but not enough to satisfy it. Machiavelli would say that a ruler who reveals every plan invites rebellion. A man who reveals every thought invites boredom, and boredom is fatal to desire. When a woman feels she has already figured you out, she stops investing emotionally. She stops trying. She stops chasing. Because the mind does not chase what it already understands. It chases what challenges it. Picture a man who constantly explains himself. A man who texts paragraphs trying to justify every action. A man who overshares about his life before she even asks. A man who rushes to fill every silence because he fears losing her interest. In his mind, he is being open. But to her, he becomes predictable. Predictability kills the spark. Machiavelli would shake his head at this man because he has surrendered his greatest weapon, uncertainty. When a woman knows exactly how you will respond, how you will act, what you will say, she no longer has to invest mentally. She no longer puts effort into understanding you. And once she stops investing, the chase dies. Now imagine another man. He is not distant, but he is not eager. He speaks with clarity, but does not reveal everything at once. His life is layered, his goals, his thoughts, his emotions, not hidden, just not freely offered to anyone. He listens more than he speaks. When she asks a question, he answers honestly, but not exhaustively. He reveals just enough to pull her closer, but not enough for her to feel she owns the whole map. He is present, but not predictable. This man does not chase attention. His energy pulls attention toward him. This is the man Machiavelli would call dangerous in the most admirable way. And this is the man a woman chases. Mystery works because it activates her imagination. The mind hates unfinished stories, unanswered questions, incomplete pictures. When you hold back just a little, your intentions, your plans, your emotions, her mind begins working to fill the space. She replays your words. She wonders what you meant. She thinks about you in the quiet moments, and without realizing it, she becomes invested. Modern men underestimate this psychological force. But Machiavelli didn't. He knew that the power of mystery creates obsession because it invites the other person to participate mentally and emotionally. When she feels she must pay attention to understand you, she becomes more attentive. When she feels she must earn deeper access to you, she becomes more committed. The key is balance. Too much mystery and you appear cold. Too little and you appear ordinary. Machiavelli teaches that the greatest leaders and lovers know how to reveal themselves in stages. They create progression. They create a journey. They give a woman something to look forward to discovering. When you become a man of layers, she feels there is always something new to learn, something new to experience, something new to uncover. And every new discovery increases her emotional investment. She chases because she wants to see what lies beneath the next layer. Many men today sabotage themselves by giving everything away too fast.
They express every desire on the first date. They tell their whole life story in the first week.
They make themselves emotionally naked before she has earned anything. And Machiavelli would call this a strategic disaster. Think of the greatest works of art, the greatest stories, the greatest journeys. They don't reveal everything at once. They unfold. They progress. They build tension. They build desire. The same must be true of you. Mystery is not manipulation. It is self-respect. It is the understanding that your inner world is a kingdom, not a public playground. And a kingdom is explored slowly. A kingdom has guarded halls, closed rooms, and treasures hidden behind doors that only the worthy may enter. When you reveal yourself in this way, a woman feels that she is discovering something rare. Rare men are chaste. Ordinary men are not. When you speak, let it be with purpose. When you share, let it be intentional. When you spend time with her, let your presence feel valuable. Let her wonder what drives you, what motivates you, what you are building. Let her feel there is always more to learn about you, that your life is deeper than what she sees on the surface. Machiavelli understood that a man who is slightly unpredictable commands attention. A man who holds back with confidence commands fascination. And fascination is the soil from which pursuit grows. A woman chases the man who captivates her mind, not the man who spills every thought. She chases the man whose silence is meaningful, whose presence is intriguing, whose inner world feels rich. When she cannot fully grasp you, she tries harder. When she cannot predict you, she becomes more alert. When she senses there is more beneath the surface, she dives deeper. That is the power of mystery. That is the power Machiavelli knew could move people, shape decisions, and ignite desire. And when you master this art, you become a man she chases, not for a moment, but for a lifetime. Imagine attraction as a dance, not a race, not a battle, but a rhythm between two minds. The problem is that most men rush the tempo. They give too much attention too fast, or they disappear completely. They go from eager to cold, from available to absent, from showering her with messages to suddenly ignoring her. And when the rhythm becomes chaotic, the woman loses interest. Machiavelli understood something powerful about human behavior. The one who controls the tempo controls the outcome. And in relationships, the man who controls the pace of attention is the man who becomes irresistible. Attention is like fire. And it burns the desire. Too little and the fire dies. The art lies in giving just enough to warm her, but not enough to overwhelm her. Machiavelli would say that rulers lose influence when they make themselves too common, too predictable, too easy to access. The same principle applies here. Constant attention makes you ordinary. Zero attention makes you forgettable. But controlled, strategic attention, that makes you unforgettable. Imagine she sends a message, and you respond instantly every time. You never pause, never breathe, never let her mind wonder what you're doing. She learns your pattern. She learns your rhythm. She knows you are always ready, always available, always waiting. And once she knows this, the chase ends. Why? Because she already possesses your time. She already owns your focus. Human beings stop chasing what they already have. Now imagine another type of man. He responds thoughtfully, not instantly. He communicates, but not constantly. He gives attention, but only when it aligns with his purpose, not because he is seeking approval. His time feels valuable because it is not given freely. His presence feels meaningful because it is not guaranteed. This man controls the pace, he sets the rhythm, and she adjusts to him. This is the power Machiavelli admired, the power to guide the emotional flow without force, without manipulation, simply by understanding human nature. When you control the pace, you keep her curiosity alive. She begins to look forward to your messages. She begins to think about when she might see you again. She becomes more attentive, more present, more invested, not because you played games, but because you didn't suffocate the natural progression of desire. Machiavelli taught that scarcity creates value, and value creates loyalty. When your attention is selective, it becomes precious. When it becomes precious, she begins to work for it. Most men fail because they give everything too quickly. They respond instantly. They cancel plans. They rearrange their life. They offer deep emotional intimacy before trust has been built. They flood the early stages with attention, thinking it will win her. But Machiavelli would say this is a strategic mistake. Early abundance leads to later indifference. When you give too much too soon, there is nowhere to rise, no anticipation left to build, no excitement left to uncover. You must pace your attention the way a master storyteller paces tension, slowly, deliberately, pulling her deeper one moment at a time. There is a reason the most memorable conversations are the ones that leave a question unanswered, a laugh unfinished, a moment slightly open. It is in the space between communication where desire grows. When you do not immediately reply, her mind becomes active. When you do not reveal everything, her interest intensifies. When you hold your attention with composure, she begins to earn it, respect it, and ultimately chase it. But understand this clearly. Controlling the pace is not about withholding affection. It is about protecting your focus. A man must not abandon his goals, ignore his responsibilities, or let his purpose crumble just because a woman enters his life. Machiavelli taught that a leader must never allow emotions to disrupt duty. Your life must remain the center of your world. Your vision must remain your North Star. And as long as your attention is guided by purpose, not desire, you naturally create the right rhythm. She will feel the difference. She will sense that when you give her attention, it comes from strength, not need. She will notice that you have a life that moves with momentum, and she must match that momentum to keep up with you. Your time becomes something she respects because you respect it first. Your focus becomes something she admires because you guard it fiercely. And your presence becomes something she chases because it is not available on demand. Imagine the effect this has on her emotions. She begins to wonder what you're doing when you're not texting. She begins to think about you during the silence. She begins to value the moments you choose to connect because they feel intentional. This is the psychological shift that Machiavelli understood well. The moment people begin to anticipate your actions, you gain power. When she wonders about you, you occupy her thoughts. When she anticipates your attention, she becomes more invested in earning it. And when she sees that you do not crumble when she pulls back a little, she begins to see you differently. She sees you as a man who cannot be controlled, a man who is not swayed by emotional waves, a man who moves with his own rhythm. And there is nothing more attractive to a woman than a man who is emotionally self-governed. Controlling the pace is not manipulation. It is discipline. It is understanding that relationships grow when both people invest, not when one person drowns the other with attention. It is understanding that desire needs tension. It needs space. It needs rhythm. Too fast, and she feels pressured. Too slow, and she feels rejected. But when you control the tempo with confidence, she feels drawn to you in a way she cannot fully explain. She begins to chase because she feels the momentum pulling her forward. She feels the anticipation building. She feels the desire rising. And she knows that your presence is something she wants more of, not because you forced it, but because you mastered the subtle art of pacing your attention the way Machiavelli would advise, with strategy, with intention, and with complete emotional control. Imagine a moment where she tests you. Not loudly, not obviously, but subtly. A delayed reply. A shift in tone. A sudden coolness. And immediately most men panic. They double text, they over-explain, they ask what's wrong. They try to fix something that was never truly broken. But Machiavelli would warn you, the moment you show that your emotional stability depends on her, you lose power. And when you lose power, you lose the chase, because nothing makes a woman stop pursuing a man faster than seeing that he cannot stand alone. A man who wants a woman to chase him must embody one truth so deeply that she can feel it in his presence. He can walk away at any moment, not because he wants to, not because he is playing games, but because he is whole within himself. His identity is intact. His confidence is intact. His life is intact. This is the man Machiavelli would call untouchable, because no one, not even love, can disrupt his foundations. And this sense of inner solidity is what draws a woman closer again and again.
Walking away is not about leaving.
It is about showing that you are not controlled by fear. The fear of losing her, the fear of disappointing her, the fear of being alone. Most men behave from this fear without even realizing it. They say yes when they want to say no. They tolerate disrespect. They stay in situations that drain them. They cling to women who treat them like options. They give chance after chance to someone who doesn't value them. Machiavelli would look at these men and say, "You fight to keep what weakens you." And nothing kills desire faster than a man who shrinks himself to keep someone else comfortable. Now imagine another type of man. When a woman pulls away, he doesn't chase. When she becomes inconsistent, he remains calm. When she tests him, he doesn't crumble. He observes, he evaluates. And if the dynamic no longer honors his self-respect, he walks away, not with anger, but with clarity. This man is not cold, he is principled. He does not abandon easily, but he refuses to abandon himself. And this is the man a woman fears losing, because he is the man she knows she cannot replace. Machiavelli understood a timeless truth. People value what they can't control. When she sees that you cannot be emotionally manipulated, her respect for you deepens. When she sees that you won't break yourself just to keep her attention, she begins to offer that attention freely. When she senses that you choose her but do not need her, she feels something powerful. She feels the urge to prove herself worthy of your choice. A man who can walk away carries a different energy. His words feel heavier. His presence feels more meaningful. His boundaries feel real, not theoretical. He does not threaten to leave, he simply knows he will if the situation demands it. And this certainty is what shifts the dynamic. Women are naturally drawn to strength, not performance. They are drawn to men who act from principle, not emotion. When she sees that your self-respect is non-negotiable, she steps into the chase because she understands something rare. You are not trying to keep her. She has to keep you. But here is the part most men misunderstand. The power to walk away is not a performance. You cannot fake it. You cannot pretend to be okay without her. You cannot pretend to have options. You cannot pretend to be strong. Women sense authenticity. Machiavelli teaches that those who pretend to be strong are easily exposed, but those who are truly strong never need to pretend. Your strength must come from within, from building a life you are proud of, from developing discipline, from cultivating purpose, from knowing your worth even in silence. When you have a strong life outside the relationship, walking away becomes natural. Your mission, your goals, your growth, these are things no woman can replace. And when she sees that you treat your purpose as sacred, she begins to see you differently. You become a man with direction, a man with standards, a man whose time is valuable. And the more valuable your time, the more deeply she values being part of your world. Walking away is not rejection, it is self-preservation. It is saying, if you cannot meet me with respect, I will continue my path without resentment. This is the kind of emotional independence that triggers a woman's pursuit. She realizes she cannot take you for granted. She realizes she cannot play with your emotions. She realizes that if she does not bring her best, someone else will eventually earn your presence. Not because you are trying to replace her, but because your life naturally attracts people who recognize your worth. And when she realizes all this, something shifts inside her. The fear of losing you awakens, not fear in a negative way, but in the way that makes her value what she has. She becomes more attentive, more consistent, more invested. because she understands that your heart is a privilege, not an entitlement. And this is where the chase begins, not from manipulation, not from games, but from genuine recognition of your strength. The moment she senses that you can walk away is the moment she begins walking toward you. The moment she notices that you don't lose yourself trying to keep her is the moment she begins valuing your presence. The moment she sees that you stand firm even when tested is the moment she realizes she has found a rare kind of man. A man who leads himself first and therefore naturally leads others. A man Machiavelli would call powerful not because he dominates others, but because he masters himself.